Well, that game certainly was interesting. What's going on, everybody? Sacred Eagle coming live to make this quick. Well, not really quick, but quick and simple. Let's talk about Eagles. If anyone's here, we'll talk about it. If not, I'm just going to talk about it for a little bit. But hey, Eagles win this game. Now, I'm happy with the win, but there are things that happened, things that the Eagles need to touch on. And it's only game one, it's only week one. So I'm totally 100% not upset about at anything. Yeah, exactly. Reaper Talon, yes. Eagles, baby. The slow start was painful to watch. It wasn't like it was bad because offensively it wasn't really bad because we didn't really see much of the offense. It was bad for the defense because the defense was getting torched by the Redskins, by Case Keenum, by a team without Adrian Peterson for whatever reason. He's healthy and he's not even suited up. If Adrian Peterson was in this game, we might have honestly lost the game with how bad we started without Adrian Peterson. So, seeing us do so badly to start the game, I mean, it makes me feel better that we managed to step up in that second quarter. We only allowed, another 10 points in that second quarter, yes, but towards the end of it, we didn't allow another touchdown. We allowed a big touchdown early on, but we started to wake up in that second quarter defensive wise. The third quarter, we really started to see 2017 vibes with the way the Eagles ran their offense. Wentz was moving around, making big plays, making really good throws. Deshaun Jackson, the sheer excitement that I get when Deshaun Jackson catches a 50-yard bomb makes me so happy. It feels like I'm a kid again because I grew up watching him, okay? 2008, I was 8 years old when we drafted him. I was 7 years old when we drafted him. I was 8 years old when he debuted. And I watched him from an 8-year-old to a 13-year-old, and then we lost him throughout the years where I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and I missed it. I missed it so much, and now here I am in 2019 watching it happen again like I'm a 9-year-old kid. Him catching a 50-yard bomb from our starting quarterback like the good old days. And he had 154 yards, 8 catches. He dropped one pass, but that's besides the point. That's not even a bad thing at all. That happens. You drop passes all the time. Offense in the second half really started to click. It just blew up. We did really great. Yeah. I felt that the slow start was going to happen just because not none, but a majority of the starters hadn't played at all in the preseason. It was a really good win. I agree, Bleed Green. It was a good win, good bounce back after the first half because the first half was ugly. We got that bomb to Deshaun Jackson that kind of gave us a little sneak peek, a little tease as to what was going to happen in the second half. And the second half was just guns a-blazing. Everybody just doing everything in their power to make all the plays. Defense was shutting down Case Keenum. The run was done after the second quarter for the Redskins. The Redskins did not run the ball at all. It was really good to come back, and definite Deshaun Jackson was a big reason why. I didn't take this. I did not take this off at all. I'm you know me. I'm an optimistic guy. I know I kind of gave up midway through last year after the Saints destroyed us, but I mean almost everybody did. But as far as this game went, I was not going to give up on this team. I wasn't going to say that we're done. I'm not going to toss the jersey. I believed in my team because one, we started the second half with the ball, and after the Sean Jackson touchdown, I'm like, okay, we have a whole other half to figure out how to make this work again, and we did. And against the Redskins, again, their defensive front is really good. Ryan Kerrigan's no joke. They lost Jonathan Allen, which was a really a blessing in disguise for us because he's a really good pass rusher. He's really good at stopping the run. That whole front was usually a really good run-stopping defense. And in that second half, we saw Miles Sanders just destroy them. We saw Darren Sproles destroy them. We saw Jordan Howard plowing up the gut right through them. And sadly, Miles Sanders' first touchdown was taken away because of a penalty. Sadly, it was a really good run too, but he'll get it. He'll get his eventually, and it'll be even better. Overall, though, the biggest thing that I want to say about the way that this win went about. Carson Wentz, number one, he wasn't sacked at all. So the offensive line, great job. But One thing that I wanted to tackle was Carson Wentz's ability to move out of the pocket. He didn't run for anything. He ran just to get back to the line of scrimmage once, but he did not run for any yards whatsoever. What he did was just extend the play. It felt like 2017 all over again, where he was looking down the field while he was breaking tackles and getting away from the rush. And it felt like literally 2017 all over again with the way that he was throwing the ball, making the plays, controlling the offense in that second half. The second half felt like everything was flowing right. Like Wentz, definitely, yes. He was conservative. He was really smart with the way that he went about throwing the ball. He spread the ball out a lot too. Of course, Jackson got the most of it because Jackson was open all the time. Like, I don't blame him. If Jackson's wide open on the sideline or if he's running down the field for a 50-50, you give him that ball. And that's exactly what Wentz did. He had Aguilar on one of the touchdowns to Jackson that was wide open as well, but he went with Jackson because he was already committed to that right side, and he stood in the pocket, took a couple hits, wasn't sacked at all though, and he protected the ball. There were no turnovers on either side of this game. Nobody threw an interception. There was no fumbles, none of that. It was a really clean game. Penalties, this team is well disciplined. We didn't have many penalties until that fourth quarter when Vaitai stepped in for Brandon Brooks. And Brandon Brooks was out only because of the torn Achilles that he suffered in January. He should not be playing right now, really. He should still be recovering, but he's back so quickly that we're being careful with him, and I like that. All right, let's see what this question was. Did you like the way that we used Howard, though? Is he our closer? Is Sanders the number one? This one, I talked about this at the halftime show, while the halftime show was going on. I wanted to see more of Howard. I personally believe that Howard deserved to get the ball more this game simply because of how strong the defensive line of the Redskins is. Like, we saw Sproles having some success before the whole debacle in the late first quarter and then into the second quarter happened. I wanted to see, right then and there, I wanted to see Howard being used because we needed somebody to push the pile if we weren't going to get anywhere. You know, I wanted to see somebody run through the tackles, break tackles, and keep going like LeGarrette Blount did in 2017. Instead, we stuck with Sanders, which was a gutsy call. And at the end of the day, it worked. And then, of course, fourth quarter, we utilized Howard a lot better. But I don't believe he's just your closer. I feel like he is more than that. I feel like we definitely have two starting running backs on this roster with Sanders and Howard that run differently. So different situations calls for different numbers. Whenever we need Howard, we'll put Howard in. Whenever we put Sanders in, we put Sanders in. Whenever one of them isn't working, definitely put the other in. But I would have loved to see more of Howard, and I hope that we see more of him in the future. But the running game today in that second half specifically, overall, I like that we didn't abandon it, especially after the first touchdown. We got right back to running the football. After the first touchdown in the second half, we went right to running it again. That's what I wanted to see in the entire game. I want to see us stay committed to that. And I definitely believe that in the future, this team, as of right now, this team has the potential to be great passing and running wise. I want us to dominate with the run because you saw the stats in the second quarter through the third and fourth. The time of possession went from the Redskins winning it by like 10 and just did a complete 360, and we were winning by 15 minutes. That's what we want to see throughout the entirety of the game, and the Eagles have the potential to do that. Overall, though, I will say that this game was fun to watch, even in the worst of the times in the second quarter, even with how bad it was and everything. It was enjoyable to watch. We won the game, and that's all that matters. We got to move on to Atlanta. But overall, great. It was a good game. It was a great start for the team as a whole because it, one, woke everybody up, especially that first half woke everybody up, and two, the offense started to really get going, which is something that we used to be such a good offense in the first quarter. That went away in 2018, and to see us go from doing nothing to just firing on all cylinders again, that gives me hope going into Atlanta and then Detroit and then Green Bay that we will be able to go, for as long as we need. Why no pressure? Wash O-line was depleted. That's concerning. True. That's true. But I think the whole thing was just lack of snaps. The whole team hadn't really started together as a team. No one really played in the preseason. And in the first half, definitely, we did not get much pressure on Keenum. The third quarter, I think, is when we saw the most pressure. And then the fourth quarter kind of went away again. But I think just with time, I feel like we're just gonna have to just wait and see, because I think we'll be fine. I think the defensive line has a lot of talent on it to not get pressure, and it's not like the Redskins aren't that bad of like that terrible as far as their offensive line goes. I mean, they have a decent offensive line. Brandon Graham stepped up a lot. Fletcher Cox stepped up. Derek Barnett got a couple pressures in there as well. Overall, it's just like when they're needed, it's just like in the Super Bowl when they needed truly 100% needed to make a play, they made a play. And when they needed to get the ball back to the Eagles in the third quarter after scoring the first touchdown, they got the ball right back to them. There was a penalty. They got to Keenum. They stuffed the run. I think definitely we'll be great against the run. But against passing, we have to really do our best to get up there in the quarterback's face to help the corners out, because Jalen Mills is still out. We saw Rasul Douglas get burned once, and again, that was a complete mismatch. Rasul Douglas is not that fast. Sidney Jones made some good plays. Darby made some good plays, had a near pick in the second quarter. I mean, there was a lot of good and a lot of bad. And once everybody woke up, and especially in the second half, once everyone started to click and work as a team, work as a unit, you really saw what this team can do against anybody. And again, the Redskins are not a bad team. They're solid all around. And they showed that today. So I'm not too worried. It's only game one. But this was a really good wake-up call and a really good what am I thinking of? A good reaction, if that, to what happened in the first half. So I'm going to head out because I want to watch the Cowboy game. Giants have the ball right now, so I kind of want to see what they're going to be able to do. Because I'm rooting. You all know I picked the Giants, so I'm hoping the Giants will win. Howard reminds me so much of Blunt in the fourth quarter. He did, right? He was bulldozing through the line. That's what I wanted to see throughout the entire game, because we use Blunt all the time throughout the game, and then of course more in the fourth quarter. But I wanted to see more of that, because he can do more than that. He can catch out of the backfield and break tackles in open field. I feel like we could definitely use that more through. Who was your player of the game? 100%. I have two. Both on offense, because they both stepped up in the second half. Wentz and Jackson. Wentz took control of the game, spread the ball around, made the plays necessary to score points, and then Jackson, without a doubt, which is how well he played today. Defensively. I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna unmute this real quick. Ooh, I'm sorry. Barkley almost just ran for a touchdown, but offensive and defensive. Wentz and Jackson on offense, without a doubt. Those are my players right there on the of the game. And then defensively, I'll give it to Brandon Graham for waking up along with the entire defensive line, but specifically him, because I saw him getting in the face of Keenum the most. He's really starting to look like the 2017 Wentz that second half, definitely, without a doubt. And that deep ball, yes. That deep ball was real pretty when he made those throws, without a doubt. It was great. It was really good to see him make those, not just make those throws, but have the confidence in himself to go for it, because we saw him in 2017 make those throws a couple of times. And then in 2018, he didn't do it as much. This game, he had a couple misfires to Aguilar and to Goddard. Goddard almost caught a ball in the second quarter, and then Aguilar, he just missed him by a little bit. But seeing him actually go for those deep balls with confidence, stay in the pocket too, because the second touchdown, he could have ran out and gone for the first down. It was the 3rd and 10. But he stood in the pocket, moved a little bit to his right, and just fired it down there, and it was right on the money. Both of them were really well thrown balls. It shows how much he's really improved on this entire thing, and I'm all for it. I can't wait to see what else the season holds for this team, because it's going to be a fun year. I've already said it. I know this game was a little bit ugly at first, but trust me, guys, believe in this team, because I do. I'm going to sign out. It's almost 15 minutes. I don't want to be here any longer, so let me know what else in the comments once this video, or this is all up, what you guys thought of this game, and I'll see you guys later. Fly Eagles fly, guys. Have a great rest of your football Sunday. Enjoy the season.